to bring up to you guys is obviously it's going to come up again, right? And we're going to go through a very powerful activity called Pona, which we're going to go through in just a moment. But this is not about releasing all of a sudden it's magic, it's going to be gone, right? This is something, if it comes up again, what you want to do is, so the practice that I do, if I'm driving in my car and all of a sudden something pops in my head, I immediately address it, I release it, I either talk to the person in my head or is if they're right next to me, and then I let it go and I get back to presence. Right? So the main goal as we move forward is to be as present as possible. So the way that we've been designed now as human beings, we got Instagram, we got TikTok, we got our text message, we got all this stuff going on. So what I'd like you to do is as much as you can throughout the rest of this afternoon to stay as present as possible. So what is presence? What does presence mean to you guys?
Put away yourself.
Is that?
Put away yourself?
Yeah.
Being involved.
Being involved, being present, yeah. Being here, absorbing, right? Okay. So has anybody done Ho'oponopono? I'm saying I say it correctly. What's that? Ho'oponopono. Okay, so I'm going to paraphrase the story big time. But if you look up the story, basically it's an ancient Hawaiian activity. Okay? And we've been using it in the academy for a very, very long time. We've been using it, gosh, for years now, right, in the academy. So what we designed what's called 3T fitness. And so what we do in our workouts is it's super high intense workout. And then we bring people right into meditation, and then we take them through a releasing activity. So why we designed this is because life is designed this way. Everything's going really smooth, you're cruising, and all of a sudden, boom, shit hits the fan. It seems like right when everything's going perfect, you're about to launch your business, everything falls. I went through it, a week ago. Last Friday, everybody's like, oh shit. Did you? I had a really bad day last Friday. I got to tell the story, it's kind of funny, because everything was going great. We launched our new company, everything was going phenomenal. Everything that could have gone wrong went wrong. Wednesday, Thursday, and then Friday, I kind of felt it. I was so pissed and so angry. I don't think you guys seen me that angry before. And I see people walking around, oh shit, like, and I'm like, And so I did Ho'oponopono with myself. I was like, hey, I had to forgive myself because I was not being a nice person to people. I just wasn't being nice. I was angry. I was mad. Okay, so what Ho'oponopono is, it's an ancient Hawaiian activity. And basically, there was a doctor or psychologist. There was this group of people in like a same, it was like the worst criminals you could think of that were in this prison. And nobody wanted to work there. And nobody wanted to work there. And so what he said, I will work there, but I will never go there. And they're like, okay. But the only choice they had, he said, I'll work from a remote office. And so what he did was he took their files, and he would open up the file, and he would look at the heinous crimes they did, like brutal, brutal crimes. And he would look at the person's name, he'd look at the things they did to the person, the families, murders, rapes, the worst people you could think of in there, right? And what he would do is he would look at it, he would embody it, he would feel it, and he would say, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. And he would do it with every single file, over and over and over again. And what they started to see is the people in the jail started to rehabilitate without him physically ever working with them. Because the energy and vibration that he was releasing for them, because these people couldn't forgive themselves. I mean, they're stuck in this vicious generational pattern cycle. I mean, imagine somebody that does something, I mean, that's a deep-rooted generational thing, right? There's something that went wrong in their life that allowed them to get to that level to maybe commit murder or to do something heinous like that, right? So they probably can't forgive themselves. So what he did was he started forgiving themselves for them. So now that we've gone through this activity, now this is, you can choose to do this, we're going to turn the lights down, you can choose to do it out loud, you can choose to not do it, you can choose to just sit in the vibration. So what we're going to do is we're going to do the activity, okay? And I'm going to walk you through a mental activity with it. We're going to do some visualization. As we walk through it after it, we're going to turn meditation music on, we're going to play the bowls for about 10 minutes. So just sit in it, and feel it. Like John R. was saying, he felt different places of his body and just releasing. And as you feel something, just practice breathing, releasing it. Breathing, releasing it. So what we're going to do is when we turn the lights off, I'm going to walk you through the activity, the visualization activity. After that, we're going to take 5 deep breaths. So the breaths are like this. So, if you want to, you can put your hand on your belly. But what you're doing is you're breathing deep from your diaphragm down to your, down to your gut. So you're up to your diaphragm, then when you get to breath 5, you're just going to release. I'm going to start playing the bowls and just sit in presence. Try to have 0 thoughts as long as you can. You guys ready for this? Okay. Okay, sound good. So when I do the Ho'oponopono, you can do it out loud, you can do it in your mind, or you can just hang on to the journey. Sound good? So let's throw some meditation songs real lightly. All right, so everybody just close your eyes, spine up straight. And what I want you to do is I want you to think about the thing that you're forgiving, that you're releasing. That I want you to feel the emotion, the pain, the anger, the resentment, the feeling when it happened, that deep, deep, deep emotional feeling. I want you to grab onto it. I want you to sit in it. I want you to experience it. And I want you to take control of it. So for about a minute or two, we're just going to sit in the feeling. Begin. You feel it deep. You may get emotional. You may feel no emotion. But what we're doing is we're taking control of it. It's no longer outside of us, it's part of us. It's no longer going to define us. Now what I want you to do is, having your eyes closed, this is all visual, is I want you to picture to your right a big black safe. Now remember the activity we did this morning. When you used your mind, you could go further. So without lifting up your right hand, just in your mind, I want you to reach up. You're going to put your hand on a big gold door handle, and you're going to turn it to the right 3 times. 1, 2, 1 more, 3. You hear a click. You're going to feel pressure on your right shoulder. You're going to open that big black door. Now go ahead and keep the door open. We're going to notice that the safe is completely empty. Now what I want you to do is, in your mind, is I want you to grab onto the pain, the anger, the resentment, the sadness. Picture it holding you back from your goals. You're right there. And what I want you to do is I want you to ball it up in your mind in your left hand. And with your mind, I want you to reach it over and put it right in the bottom of the safe. Hold it over there. Now, if you're ready to release this, to move into the present moment, to a life you've always wanted, I want you to go ahead and let go. Now bring your left hand back down. I want you to just sit, knowing that right now, this is now outside of you. And what we're going to do is we're slowly going to close the door. Now as you close the door, what I want you to do is turn the handle to the left 3 times. That's 1, 2, 1 more, and 3. Bring your right hand back down in your mind. And what you're going to do is, either aloud or in your mind, you're going to repeat after me. First, I am sorry. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Please forgive me.
Please forgive me.
Give yourself a smile on your heart and say, thank you. And last and most important, I love you. I love you.
I love you.
We're saying sorry. We're letting ourselves know it's okay, because it truly, truly is. We're saying, please forgive me. We're letting ourselves know that it's okay. We all make mistakes and other people make mistakes. We're saying thank you. Thank you for the new day. You do not read a book from back to front. As a child, you were not taught to read a book from back to front. You were taught to read a book from front to back. But as adults, what we do is we go backwards in our chapters. We keep revisiting the chapters. We keep bringing it up after we forgive. It's now time to look at the blank page and the new chapter of your new book. You now have the pen. You now have the power, warriors. You have the power to start writing your own book. The past will not define you. It will propel you. So what I want you to do, warriors, is I want you to think about the new life that you're about to create. And as you say, I love you, there's 2 types of people in this world. There's the iceberg and the lighthouse warriors. The iceberg is just waiting to sink people's ships. That's 99% of people, but you are not the iceberg, you are the lighthouse. The lighthouse is always tended to. Always tended to. It's a tough job. The lighthouse is always taken care of 24 hours a day. But the lighthouse guides people back to shore. So as we breathe inwards, you're going to breathe in that abundance with a deep belly breath up to your diaphragm, and then you're going to breathe out all the resistance. After the 5th breath, you're just going to be presence. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. 2 more. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. 1 more. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Just relax. feeling? Whew. All right. Now it's time to share. Now we don't, not everybody has to share, but what I want to, how do I say this? I want to recap what I was talking about with the book, right? You know, it's such an interesting dynamic having a 5-year-old son now and raising a child at this awakening level versus where I was when I raised my daughter. Right? And my daughter did an interview just recently with me, and it was, I'm trying not to cry, but I held a lot. Actually, we went during the interview. I actually released because my daughter went through hell with me. Like when she was up until 3 years old, I was an ugly addict. I mean, I was a mess, absolute mess. And I held a lot of guilt because, and I guess I'm sharing first. I'm sharing with you guys. I just coming out, but I held a lot of guilt because raising my son is completely different than raising my daughter. And it's like she gets to see the way I raised my son versus the way I raised her. It's like, man, this shit hurts. And I can see it in her, like I can see it in her eyes, like, cause you know, I almost feel guilty sometimes. I'm so engrossed with my son, and like I understand life at a different level, and it's like, we have to release those things. And when I started to be able to release it, we had a moment that I didn't even know I was holding on to that, because things are gonna come up, right? We did this interview, and when she was sharing how different I am from 3 years ago when I was an executive to where I am now, and how I communicate with her now, and I'm present, I'm actually look like I'm happy, and she's like, he smiles all the time, and he talks to me, and you know, he used to be so stressed out. I'm like, wow. So know that things are gonna continually come up. I didn't even know I was holding on to that until we did that interview, and I was like, wow. And our lives are meant to be lived. I hope you guys realize that this is about. Our lives are meant to be lived. It's not meant to survive, we're meant to thrive. Right? And we were just talking about this. We're the only living organism that pays to live here on this earth. I mean, that's wild if you think about it. We're the only living organism that pays to live on this earth. Really think about that. We're the only living organism that pays to live on this earth. So I hope that we can commit to, as a group, to thrive. Because if all of us in this room, how many people are 30 people? Say 30 people in here. If every single one of you goes out of here present today, imagine the lives you're going to impact as you walk out of here today. Just this evening, if we all stay present as long as we can. So I appreciate you guys. Ben, did you want to say anything before we get to sharing?
Sorry, man. I love being an observer and being outside of all this stuff, because it gives me even deeper insight to be able to really think about what's going on, right? So it's like, he just shared that, right? Y'all hear the story he shared about his daughter and everything. What do you think his daughter was thinking about him when she was that small? That was a part of, that's actually something that I got to capture, that we'll show you guys maybe on like the second or third day. But what do you think her perception of him was at that time as he's going through this stuff? We showed y'all videos, you know, he's going through this stuff, he's going through the drugs and all of that. You would almost assume, because he's holding on to this guilt, right? You would almost assume that she knew, or that she really felt those effects or something like that, right? I interviewed Raven. I'm like, Raven, you remember anything about, you know, your pops? Because she told me the 3-year thing. I was like, you remember? She was like, let me think. She was like, you know what? The only thing that I can really remember is that I thought my dad was a freaking superhero. And I was like, okay, wait a minute. Elaborate on that real quick. What does this mean? What are you talking about? She was like, so my dad was really buff. He was doing the bodybuilding and everything. And she was like, the only memory I have that I can really remember is when I got to bring him to show and tell. And I was so proud. And I was like, wow. Now, if you think about that, how important it is, because he's the only one holding on to the guilt. That's a whole lot of us. That's a whole lot of us. We probably are the only ones. She don't even remember. She don't even remember, nor even think about it. So it's like, oh man. So when you think about how important it is, when we were talking about the forgiveness, it's for you. It's for you. You gotta really, really adopt that and understand it, because it's the outside, all of the outside stuff doesn't matter. Then he goes into the upon. Somebody made this for us, y'all. It's a really cool thing. Somebody made this for us. It just sounded like a sword when I pulled this out. Somebody made this for us because Jay was going through it. And was, after the classes, after we have the workout sessions, they made it for us, right? That's how powerful it was. They carved this out of steel and gave it to us. How incredible is that? Please pass that around, y'all. Check that out.
That's
but
David actually created that.
Yeah. That activity and the story he went into how that even came about, that person adopted their feelings and released it. And then somehow the inmates started to get better. What does that mean? You gotta really, 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 it's a cool story, I get it. But it's like, no, wait a minute, how? This dude got superpowers? What is going on? You gotta really think about, wait, so can I do that? If somebody is in a remote location and they